Hello, welcome back community. This is Vitalis. Welcome back. If life gives you stress, we give you chess. Relax and sharpen your mind and make your move with us here in East Africa Chess Community. This is Anonymous Destro Chess Community. If you have not yet subscribed, please subscribe for more learning and sharpen some skills on playing chess. So this is a video that I designed to offer to those who are beginners and those who want to learn chess from scratch. If you have a dream of becoming like Magnus, there are some stages you need to go first before you reach to be a professional player. So you're going to start from step to step, knowing how the pieces move and how and even the names of each pieces. Before you can learn the tactics and master the board, you need to understand first how pieces move and how different pieces play their role in the game and how each and every pieces are required to control the board and also to help you in your game as you learn the tactics. So we are going to start. If you're new to this channel, please subscribe and share because you're about to learn. And if you have somewhere you're going to write, you can also write. And these notes, I'm also going to share the link there for the slides that I'm showing right now. If you are able to see the screen, I'm sharing the slides. So chess is more than a game, it's a mental exercise. It helps you think clearly. So this is a full chess guide. I'm going to show you how to play, and if somebody needs to learn within East Africa, you can share to him or her. Before we start, we're going now to briefly discuss the history of chess. Chess is one of the oldest strategy games in the world. So its earliest known ancestor is Chaturanga, and which was a war strategy board game that originated in India around 6th century. So it's an old game version. So by 15th century, Europeans modified the rules, speeding up gameplay and giving pieces like the queen their modern powers, creating the version of chess we play today. So over time, chess grew into a global intellectual sport, eventually forming international organization and world championship. So somebody can ask, what are the benefits of chess for mental health or something? You can find that it enhances cognitivity function. It reduces stress, because your attention to span, information processing speed is there, focuses on the board, helps shift attention from the stressors, then it builds patient emotional control. Chess teaches you to think before acting, manage frustration, accept losses and learn from them. So these emotional skills support better mental well-being. So it boosts self-confidence. Winning complex game and solving difficult position and puzzles boosts your esteem and a sense of mastery. So it also protects against cognitivity decline. Some studies link strategies like strategic games like chess to improve brain resilience, helping maintain mental sharpness with age. It also protects against cognitive decline. Some studies, for life and problem solving, it strengthens the critical thinking and planning, enhances decision making under pressure, improves pattern recognition, teaches adaptability and responsibility for choices. So chess, it's a benefit of health. And what can I say? Chess is more than game. So it's also. So we have the chess notation. All new players should learn to keep score using what is called the algebraic notation. In the diagram above, you will notice that the board includes the numbers 1 to 8 along the left edge and the letters A to H along the bottom of the board. We can use the combination of one letter and one word to describe each square of the board. The square in the bottom left-hand corner is called the A1. This is fully explained I'm going to explain fully in another slide. So let's go to how to read the and write the chess moves. So all new players that are in here, you are required to learn how to keep score using what is called the algebraic notation. As you can see in this diagram, there are pieces already there. So you will notice that the board includes the number 1 to 8 along the right, and then the letters A to H along the bottom of the board. We can use the combination of the letter and the number to describe each square of the chessboard. So the important thing is to remember is how to identify the pieces you are moving. You just need to use, for example, the right king, for example, the white king begins the game on e1. As you can see, it's e1 here, the one for, let me show you. As you can see here, it is here, it is e1. So the black rooks begins the game at a8 and h8. So you can see there is h, there is a, and there is this one, h8. Those are the rooks for white and black. You can just, even you can use another example or something else. You can just look at it. So when you're coming to now write on paper, for example, two squares can be described, we can describe the move as e2, e4, or simply e4. Moving the knight on g1 to f3 will be written g1, f3. So for example, if you move knight, we'll see this in practical as I'm going to bring another. This is theory part, but in practical we're going I'm going to show you. But for now, you can see, like, if you move a piece, for example, this knight goes here, then this knight, because it's they move in an L, so this is going to be an f3. Is going to pose at an f3 because knight moves in a L direction. Okay, so we are going to learn that also. So we need to know the notations. Capital letter K stands for, this K stands for king. King is here in the middle at E. Then we have capital Q, who's the queen. The queen is here. You can see this is king. The king is on the other side of the board at the black. You can see the king. This is the queen, and also on the other side of the board, black pieces, we have the queen. Then R is for rook. Rook is here. Then there is another rook the other side. Then we have bishop. Bishop is here. We have two bishops. Also the rooks are two. The knights, all the pieces are two except the queen, the king, and also we have multiple pawns. So B is for bishop. Bishop is here. Then we have said N is for knight, so knight is here. Remember that P is not part of the notation for the chess to represent maybe pawn. We don't use P. Instead, we only use the letters. If pawn moves here, so it's going to be E3. If it moves here, then we are going to say the notation is E4. So that one is something you must know, and you must master that so that you may avoid the confusion. Then there is some other notations like X. X means that you have captured a piece, or X, take or capture. Then we have this 2-0 with some adjustment in the middle. So this one, castle king side. This is castle king side. I'll show you how to castle. Then the one, you can see there are 3 O's and there are some suspense in the middle. This one is, when you see 3 O's, that one is castling on the queen side. I'm going to show you how to castle on the queen side. Then if you see a plus, then that is a check. Then hashtag or plus plus, that's a checkmate. Exclamation mark is a good move. Then if you have one question, that is a bad move. Double question is a blunder. So you must master the notations. As a beginner, you need to know and learn before you start moving the pieces. Then next slide. Then how to play chess. This is chess terms, files, ranks, and diagonals. So files are the rows of square that run up and down. As you can see, these are file. It runs up down the chessboard. Then we have ranks. Ranks are the ones that move horizontally the board. The files are vertical, then the ranks are horizontally the chessboard. Then we have the diagonals. Of course, the diagonals is now the diagonals apply where bishops, mostly bishops, they operate on the diagonal, as you can see here. And the ranks mostly are for rooks, the rooks, and also the queen. So now the queen is the combination of this, the ranks, the file, and the diagonal, because the rooks move on the file and ranks. Bishop moves on the diagonals, and queen moves in the file, rank, and diagonal. So you can some simple rules regarding the chessmen. You can read this. It will help you. Then more about the notation, you can also read. Maybe, for example, the white king begins the game on e4, blah blah blah. Then this one describes whatever we have now in the board. So each side has 8 pawns, each side has 2 knights. As we said that each side has 2 bishop, each side has 2 rooks, each side has 1 queen, each side has 1 king. So your main focus is with your pieces. And remember that pawn is 1 point, knights they are given 3 points, bishop is 3 points, rooks they are 5 points. So queen, the queen is 9 points, and king has no points. So the king is 0 point. You need to protect. So the funny thing about chess, when you're playing chess, you are doing everything to protect your king. So your king is the king. The king is your best piece. This guy is the key piece that you're protecting in this game, until you make sure that your king is not checkmated. So that is how you're going to play chess. You defend your piece very well to defend your king, so that your king is not exposed to danger, something known as the check or checkmate. Whenever your king is exposed, you're given a check or a checkmate. So the whole entire time what you're doing is protecting your king, right? So the king is 0 points. Remember, queen is 9 points, rook is 5 points, bishop is 3 points, 3 points, and the pawn is only 1 point. So as you can see, queen is more valuable, followed by rooks, bishop, knights. Then let's go to the next slide. So knight moves and captures whenever was an e4. You don't necessarily need to include check in your score sheet, but you can easily with this is ch or just plus. For mate, many players use hashtag. So this hashtag hash is to show like you are checkmated. Now I want to show you how these pieces move one by one. Like we need to learn how these pieces move from pawn, knight, rook, the bishop, queen, and also the king. So I'm going to show you one by one, as you can see on the slide. So a pawn can move, let's start with a pawn. So a pawn can move straight ahead 1 or 2 squares on its first move. After that, it can move only 1 square at a time, even if it didn't go 2 squares on its first move. So let me show you how. The pawn, like the foot soldier, is a war, marches forward on square at a time. Unlike the other pieces, the pawn can never retreat. Pawns that have not yet moved, have the opinion of beginning their forward journey with double move. So there is that double move before you have done any move. For pawns, there is always a double move that you can make before, and you cannot make it again. If you make it once, you've moved the piece. So it can begin their journey by double move 2 squares forward. The pawn must jump other pieces, or the pawn captures different from the way it moves. The pawn captures diagonal or one square ahead, as if we are fighting on each side with a short sword. So as you can see, pawn captures this side. As you can see here, if you are moving a pieces, then you can capture this side or the right side or the left side. So you cannot jump. It's not like checkers, you're jumping or where. So it moves this other side and this other side, and it cannot retreat. Remember that a pawn has one move forward, so you can move it once in a square, but before it begins its journey, before you can start, you are given a choice. There is a choice of moving twice the square that is before you. So you can also move twice forward, and whenever you move it once, even if you move it once in a time, you are not able to move it again twice. So if you go with the choice of moving it once, moving it in a double square once, then that means you're going now to continuously you're going to move only one square at a time forward. So that is how, and if you decide you're going to move it on one square, then you're going to maintain it at that level of moving one square at a time. So that is how pawn moves, and how it captures on the other side, left or right, whenever another piece is exposed to where the pawn is moving towards the direction where the next. So for example, let's learn more about pawn. So pawn can jump over other pawns or pieces if blocked. A pawn can't move straight ahead until the other pawns or pieces get out of the way. In the diagram above, on the right, the pawn block each other and cannot move. The pawn in the diagram right can capture rook to the left or the knight to the right. As you can see in this diagram, it can capture this rook or can capture the knight to the left. The bishop, however, is immune from capture, as the pawn may only capture diagonally. So the bishop cannot be captured because you cannot capture the one that is facing directly towards the pawn. So but you can always capture something that is across, like diagonally, this other side, like left and right, as you can see in this part. And also pawns cannot move forward if they are blocked by the other pawns. As you can see here, you cannot move forward or move diagonally, because the only move you can move is forward. If blocked, they cannot move. So we can go to another piece. Hope you've learned how pawn they can move. So the knight, we have each side has two knights. Now we can look at how knight moves. So the starting position in the diagram on the right, the knight may land on any square that has a dot. The knight moves in an L shape. As we said, the knight moves in an L shape, 2 squares forward and only to the side, or 2 squares sideways and 1 forward, or 2 square backward and 1 to the side. The knight may jump over. So the knight may jump over friendly and enemy pieces. This is a very important part. So they can jump over the friendly and enemy pieces without having any effect on the men it passes over. The knight captures any enemy piece or pawn it lands on. We assign the knight an notation. This is a notional value, just as we did for the pawn. So the knight is 3 points, the pawn is 1 point. As you can see, the knight is 3 points, and we have, according to this diagram, you can see here. Let me show you. Let me show you. So you can see this illustrative diagram here. As you can see, this is a knight. If this is the center position of a knight, then any L, like this is an L, it can move and jump here at this point. It can also move at any L and jump into this position. It can also move to this other L and jump into this position. It can also move to this and jump here. You can see all these L's. As long as the knight has the space, these are all L's that knight can jump. But at the corner you can see, so for example, this is an L, it can jump into here. Then this is another L, it can jump into here. This is another L, it can jump into here. This is another L, it can jump into here. As you can see, all this L, it can jump here, it can come and jump here. These are all L's. As you can see, these are all L's. These are all L's. As long as you see an L, a knight can jump to that position. And this part, remember this part, the knight may jump over friendly and enemy pieces without having any effect on the men it passes over. The knight captures an enemy piece or pawn it lands on. So unlike pawns can only capture on diagonal, but knights, they are jumping in an L shape. So for example, if a pawn was there or any piece is there, a knight, even if it's a queen, as long as the knight is, whenever the stopping point of a knight is an L, where it's going to stop, you can pick that piece or it captures that piece. So you must note that knight moves in an L, and where it lands, that is the point where it picks or captures the piece that is located there. If there is no piece, then it is free to stay at that point and still make some other strategies to defend the queen, or also try to find where to capture the next piece. So you must remember that, and always remember that knight moves in an L, as you can see on the diagram as I have shown you. So that is how knight moves, and that is how knights operate. So we have said is an L whenever in each and every square that a knight can access an L, it can move in that direction. And the knight is 3 points. Unlike pawns move diagonally. When capturing, knights, when capturing, they move in an L, and also their natural movement, they move in an L. So pawn, let's look on the next piece. We have the bishop. So also according, just like the knight, bishop, we have each side has 2 bishops. The bishop, according to the board, you can see here, according to this this slide, you can see this is the starting point of a bishop. So this is how bishop looks like. So this is their starting position, and on this other side, in the diagram on the right, this one, the bishop may land on any square that has an arrowhead. So you can see, as you can see, these are diagonal. Bishops move this way. You can see here, this is how bishop moves on all sides of the board. So for a dark square, it moves on a dark. For a light square, it moves on a light square. So for example, let me show you. So if this was for a white square, it can only move this way, and that is it. For a dark square, you have seen a dark square can move this way and this way, whichever the way. If it's here, you can see, then this is white can move this way, as long as they're keeping in diagonal. So that is how the bishop moved diagonal at a slant, stopping at any empty square according to the choice of the bishop, may capture an enemy piece or a pawn in its path. So bishop captures on the path. You can see this path, it captures on the path it moves diagonally. So that is simple to understand. Any piece that will be exposed to the diagonal as bishops move, so it's going to be captured. So we assign the bishop notional value just as we did for the knight, so it's 3 points. The knight is also the 3 point. Now we can see the rook. So the rook, each side we have 2 rooks, just the same as the knight, the same as the bishop. So the rooks, this is their starting point, as you can see here. Let me show you. This is the starting points of the rooks. Then in the diagram on the right, as you can see the diagram in the right, the rook may land on any square that has an arrowhead. Okay, so the rook moves horizontally and vertically in a straight line, stopping at any empty square according to the choice. The rook may capture an enemy piece or pawn in the path. So the rook can capture any enemy around the path it moves, but it moves horizontally and vertically. So this is horizontal and also vertical. Horizontal, this is vertical, horizontal. So the rook moves like that. Even if it comes and stop here, it can move to this direction. Let me show you. Even if the rook comes and stop here, it can move to this other side. Even if it comes and stop here, it can also move to this other side. Even if it comes and stop here, it can move up to this other end. So the rook moves vertical and horizontal. Yeah, hope you've learned that point. So we want to look at another piece. So the rook, we are going to give it a notation, notional value of 5. So it's a 5 point. So if you lose a rook, you've lost 5 points. So it's more valuable than both knight and bishop. It follows the queen in its value. So you must always not lose a rook over a pawn, or lose or also lose a rook over a knight, because you're going to be down a piece, and there might be more chances that you're going to lose that game because you've lost a lot of points than your opponent. So you must always learn to protect the rook. Whenever there is attack on diagonal by a bishop or a knight on an L, you need to remove the piece from that point and still try to find a safer box to put your rook. Okay, so let's look at the queen. Okay, so each side has one queen according to how the chess pieces are, unlike the rest of the pieces we have noticed with. So this is the starting point of a queen according to how they are positioned on the board. So on the right side of this slide, you can see the diagram on the right, the queen may land on any square that has an arrowhead. You can see this here, this and this. So the queen move horizontally and vertically, diagonally, stopping at any empty square according to the choice. Another way to look at this is to say that the queen combines. So the queen combines the powers of the rook and the bishop. The queen may capture any enemy piece or pawn in the path. So the queen is a special piece in this game because it combines the two very perfect moves. That is for the one for the bishop and for the rook, because that's a lot of task. Even if you can make it in real life situation, this means that the queen protects much more of the king's territory, because it captures any pieces that is on the diagonal side, horizontally located, or even the single squares that are around the queen. So remember, it combines the powers of the rook and the bishop, because it can move horizontally, vertically, diagonally, and any piece located on the direction where it is moving, then it can be captured. Note at the start of each game, the queen stands on the square of her own color, black. So the positioning of the queen in the board, the physical board now, the black queen is on the black square, and the white queen is on the white square. That is how you can learn how to arrange the board. So if you find yourself some difficulties on arranging the pieces on the board, so you just remember that for a queen, a white queen is going to be on a white queen, and a black queen should be on a black queen. So, and always remember that you put the king next to the queen. So that one is simple. So let's move, and remember that we gave here, we assigned the queen annotation value just as we did for the pawn. So the queen has 9 points, so it's a great piece. So whenever you lose a queen, that's a losing game. You should have that in mind. If you want to be like Magnus, you should never lose your queen. But I'm not saying that you're going to lose a queen when you can find a perfect move for checkmating somebody by losing a queen. You can also sacrifice, because if you can be like Magnus does sacrifice the queen. So if you can sacrifice the queen for a better move, that is a better move, then sacrifice the queen. But always protect the queen, because the queen is a perfect move for is a perfect piece for your defense in the territory. Remember that. So don't play like a dummy and forget that you have hung your piece over a pawn, then you expect to win a game. It doesn't work like that. All you need is to focus and protect the queen whenever there is attack diagonally, horizontally, vertically. Even the pawn attacks it in the same space. Protect the piece. So you must learn how to protect the piece also, of which I'm going to show you in the next lesson. So this is the introduction part. So we are going to continue with the next piece, which is the king. So each side has one king. So this is their starting point in the board. As you can see here, master it. So the king has only this move. The king only moves one square in any direction. So this one is simple to remember. So vertically or diagonally, the king may capture an enemy piece or pawn in its path. Okay, so the king is also a piece in a game. Despite of us saying that you're protecting the king, that doesn't mean that he cannot stand for himself. So the king is also a piece and plays a role in an endgame situation mostly, but for any other matters, the king is also a piece, though it doesn't have a notation, because we said it's a 0 point, because you're protecting. The only thing you're doing in this whole game is protecting your king from exposure, because if you're being exposed to a check, then checkmate, then the game ends. So you must have that in mind. So a king is a piece. Yes, it can capture any piece moving on its direction. And where does it move? On which direction does the king move? The king moves in one square, horizontally, vertically, or diagonally located. Only one square. One square. Only one square. Remember that it is only one square. It is against the rule to move the king onto a square where it can be captured. If you do this by accident, we say that the move is illegal. Yeah. So remember that in mind. If you make 3 illegal moves in a chess, then you lose. And we're not dummies to lose. We are making ourselves to be good chess players. Now, why should we lose on a game just because we made an illegal move? Always be keen, because chess, you must always be keen. Don't be a villager somewhere. You don't want to remember. There are some good rules for chess when you're playing. So you should never move illegally, like you're moving your king to a place where it's exposed to maybe a bishop diagonally. That's an illegal move. If you do it thrice, according to FIDE rules, you're out. So you lose. And we're not training losers. We are not training to be losers. We are training to be smart in chess and be grandmasters, just like Hikaru and Magnus Carlsen. You want to be some good players, then stick to the rules and remember these basic rules, because these basic rules are the ones that start to make you, and they are going to act as a foundation for your chess growth and chess learning, and to improve your knowledge and basic knowledge towards chess. Okay, so always remember that whenever you see a bishop, maybe it's diagonal, you want to move your king to that square, you don't have to move it to that square. Instead, you can choose to move it to another different square to avoid the illegal move. So the illegal move must be taken back and a legal move must be played instead. But according to rules, if you do 3 illegal moves, you are out. So opposition, the king must stay apart. Enemy kings can never get closer enough to capture each other. There must always be at least one square between kings. This can be so as I was saying that there must always be at least one square between kings. This can be seen in the diagram right. Neither king can move to square marked with an X. They oppose each other at one square distance. This situation is known as the opposition. As you can see in this place here, the kings they give each other space of one square always. So you can, this is the opposition. Now this is the power of opposition. So you cannot always you cannot come closer to the opposition king. You're going to leave a space like for one square. One square is going to be the distance between you and your opponent's king. So that is how it moves. I hope you have understood. Let's go to the next.